It's so important to me, the prosperity piece, because wealth is just financial, whereas prosperity is more holistic. It's yes, making money, but how do you feel? What is your experience of making that money? Are you still rich in time and energy? Are you still experiencing the magic that this life has to give you? Because I have made just the money and it didn't feel good. It's very important to me to feel the richness in all areas. I've always made good money, but I've never felt rich. And
Mm.
that's the piece that's coming through now.
I'm Tiffany Glenland, your host of the Business Bravery podcast. I'm an Australian marketing strategist, coach, and service provider with over 14 years of experience in online business and marketing. This podcast is for coaches and service providers who are brave enough to do business differently. Because when your business actually fits you, it becomes so much easier to show up consistently, talk about what you do, and attract more clients. Here we have honest conversations about visibility, mindset, messaging, sustainable growth, and what it really looks like to grow a business in a way that feels aligned, human, and sustainable. Today I'm joined by Jackie Cowie, an Akashic Records mentor who helps service-based businesswomen move from burnout to prosperity by building the capacity, identity, and self-trust to grow a sustainable business. We talk about why selling feels so different when it comes from pressure instead of confidence, how burnout and self-worth shape the way we show up, and what it looks like to trust yourself through seasons of growth and change. If you're a coach or service provider who's been feeling stretched too thin, this conversation will remind you that sustainable business growth starts with building the capacity to become the person who can hold it. Now, with that said, this is an amazing episode, and I can't wait to share with you Jackie's stories of business bravery, past, present, and future. Now, who's ready for some business bravery inspiration? Let's dive in. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another amazing episode of the Business Bravery podcast. I am super excited to dive into all things bravery, and I think we're going to be diving into burnout as well with my amazing guest, Jackie Cowie. Jackie, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your stories. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and who you helped so we have kind of a framework for getting started on today's conversation.
Hi, Tiffany. Thank you so much for having me. I've been really looking forward to this conversation. I am the Akashic Records mentor. So I lead mainly service-based women from burnout to prosperity. So rich in time, energy, magic, and money. I help them learn how to serve from capacity and sell their life's work from sovereignty, because often service-based women in particular can serve from depletion. Selling feels a little bit ick. They're really good at their craft, but when it comes to selling it, it can feel uncomfortable. So I help women lead themselves through that journey so that their life's work can give them the richness and the fulfillment that it was meant to give them.
So many interesting things in what you do there. Actually, I have kind of this whole love-hate relationship with selling and that ick side. Like sometimes selling comes easily and it's just part of the conversation and I'm not trying to make it happen, but it comes up. But other times when it's like clients are quieter, things are slower and it's like, I've got to go out, I've got to sign clients. That's when, I don't know, the ick really rises for me. So,
Yeah. And it's never comfortable to try and sell your life's work under that kind of pressure. The content that you create and the things that you say don't usually land as well when they come from that level of pressure, do they?
yeah, absolutely. And it's definitely something I need to keep on top of in terms of mindset so I can stay in that zone of, like, for me, it's fun and sort of genuine passion and genuine caring about other people and connecting and going down those roads sort of helps me in those situations. But it's definitely been a
Yeah.
learning curve.
100%. And I think for those of us who err on the side of being humble and being more timid and being more heart-centered and giving, for us to concentrate on the care piece and the community piece and the just being in service piece rather than having to drum up some confidence and some conviction and some kind of frequency that isn't natural to us. So that's what I love helping women with, making it feel natural. Because the women that I generally see aren't the ones on the other end of the scale that are audacious and going, I know everything and I know what's going. It's not generally that end of the scale. It's usually the ones where I have to go, do you know what? Look how amazing you are. Look at the
Mm.
experience you've got. Look at the wisdom that you've embodied. You have talent coming out of every pore of your skin, and it's time that you saw that. Yeah, that
Yeah.
tends to be the end of the spectrum that I work with.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that definitely makes sense. And from my experience too, it can be so easy to kind of just get lost in the day-to-day of the to-do list and kind of forget to connect with that side and even that, yeah, like your strengths in that way and maybe the more spiritual side or the more, that energy and that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, yeah. And I come across many, many high achieving women as well. So we know how to roll our sleeves up, we know how to work harder, we know how to put in more hours. And so that tends to be something that we need to rewrite and unlearn as well.
Yeah.
Where's the fun piece? Where's the play piece? Where's the I'm doing it because I feel like doing this instead of
Mm.
this is what the algorithm needs me to do.
Yeah.
And that took me a long time to rewrite. It took me a long time to trust that I could do it my way. I
Mm.
could put my laptop down and I could go outside and enjoy myself and the whole thing wasn't going to come crashing down. It took me a long time to detox from that and to trust that I
Yeah.
could do it my own way and it was all going to be great.
Oh, I'm looking forward to diving into more of that with you because it's been similar for me too. Like all the messages out there to work harder, to just if you can outwork your competition, or you can just if you don't have enough clients, it's because you're not having enough conversations. You need to have more conversations, and yet that burns me out as like in that kind of I'm in that middle between introversion and extroversion, and it really has been just a slow process of finding my way through that of here's what works for me and this works, that doesn't work, and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I think it's having patience with yourself through that. Again, many, a lot of the time, what I see is we have a really harsh inner critic. We're really hard on ourselves. I should be further along. I should know what I'm doing. I should have more clients, more money, whatever it is by now. And one of the huge pieces for me was in those moments where things weren't working and they weren't as I wanted them to be, to really love myself in those moments, to really, again, detox and rewrite the whole harsh critic and, pointing the finger at myself. Those were the moments that when I really loved myself through those moments, then everything began to shift and it all became a lot easier.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Turns
such a
out you
good
can't bully yourself into it.
yes, that's such a good point. I was just thinking about for me because that was one of my voices that I had for most of my life was, why aren't you further ahead? If you're so smart, why haven't you made the money and all of this kind of stuff? And yet anytime I took action from that place of, oh, well, I just have to be better and I just have to be harder and that's the times when I would pick up the most toxic clients or the clients that would wear me out the most because I'm guessing my energy was in this certain level as opposed to the times where perhaps I already had a couple of clients and then I pick up some more and it's coming from this place of stepping into oh God, this sounds so cliched, but stepping into my power or just accepting that level of you know was it in your reel that you said the master was that am I yeah I'm hoping I'm not
Yeah,
mixing up
yeah. I'm doing a, a little identity piece at the
yes
moment. Um, and this is what I've been talking about in my recent content is that when you start, you're the newbie and you're concentrating on, oh my God, I hope I can help this client and I hope I know what I'm doing and I hope I can be useful and they get the transformation that they want. But then you go through this period where you have so much experience, so much wisdom, so much richness, and you actually haven't noticed. And you get a few years in and you haven't actually noticed, wow, I have a lot of expertise. I have a lot that I can offer to people. And you just actually haven't recognized that in yourself yet. You haven't noticed it yet. So that's one of the evolutions that you go through. So a lot of the time when people find themselves burning out, it's because they have outgrown who they were serving. They've outgrown the model they were using, maybe the offers they were serving, and they've actually outgrown that identity. So that's what the burnout is. It's that friction. It's that invitation to move into your next evolution, your next identity. But it's not an identity I don't see as something you are becoming, like some future version you're becoming. It's just a deeper layer of meeting yourself.
Mm.
And that's what you've been talking about. When I show up as myself, I tend to attract the clients that I want to work with. But when
Mm.
I show up and I'm bullying myself or speaking harshly to myself, then I attract a different level of client. And that information right there is so good. So good.
Yeah. Oh man, likewise on what you said just before that on I've forgotten the exact words you've used because I'm just like sitting with it all, but it's yeah.
When you
d-
meet yourself.
Yes, yeah, the layers. That's right. Sorry, the layers and the meeting yourself. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we can get caught up in this, and I did it myself. That's why I know. The vision boarding and the putting yourself into the future and whatever number goal you want to go for, add another zero onto it. And I did all of that. I did all of that. For me personally, it actually set me back
Yeah.
many, many months. But I've come to learn that it's not a future version that you're moving towards. It's actually just stripping away layers of limiting beliefs and programming and conditioning and identities that you took on that got you here. So I always look at them with reverence. I look back at them with absolute reverence. But you don't need them anymore. So you can give them to the past. And then you meet this next version of yourself and you go, wow, what can she do? I always think of it like, like Russian dolls.
Mm.
And you step out of the little doll into the bigger doll and you think, wow, this reality is bigger than I realized. And then you meet more of yourself and you step into the next reality going, wow, this one's even bigger. What's possible in this one?
Gosh, that just describes my whole experience, like, especially since I started this podcast and I got much more into like mindset and everything. And oh, wow. Okay. There's so many things I want to ask you about, but I am conscious that I haven't asked you about bravery stuff, and that is what the podcast is supposed to be about, despite the fact that I want to go on all these other different tracks.
Perhaps a part two.
It wouldn't be the first time that I have done that, actually. But yeah, I'd love to hear like, and this is probably on this similar thing of you maybe finding your like revealing your own layers of finding your own self. But yeah, like what bravery things are you either doing now, or perhaps align with maybe that thing that we're talking about with the finding your layers?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So the bravery piece that I'm playing with personally and in my business right now is another layer of visibility. And most mentors will teach you about visibility in terms of being able to tolerate more eyeballs on you.
Mm.
So yes, that is part of it, but it's kind of what we were talking about before. Visibility starts with you recognizing yourself as this new woman. Again, not a future woman, just more of yourself. And so I did a little thing in my broadcast channel on Instagram, and I actually took people with me. I went in there every day for something like 11 days. And in day one, I was sharing the realizations and the aha moments that I was having personally. Because, in personal development, your spiritual journey, you don't always know in the moment. It's usually when you look back, you can go, oh, I see why that had to happen. Oh, I see why I had to meet that person. So I took my audience with me on that journey in real time. And I was sharing, like I say, day by day, what I was realizing about visibility. Some of it was strategic, some of it was spiritual, some of it was personal. And at the end of it, I ended up creating a reel that went to something like 27,000 views, loads of opt-ins, conversions, all that kind of stuff. And it was so, so cool because I had taken people in real life, in real time on that journey. So for me, it's about visibility right now. But if I look back at all the bravery pieces through, my own business, the first one started when I was an associate chiropractor. I worked for somebody else at the time, and I realized that I got to my ceiling with him. So as an associate, you are paid a percentage of the clients that you see. And although I was doing more than any chiropractor had ever done for him, he wouldn't go past that certain percentage. So I realized then I had reached the ceiling of where I could go in that situation. So that's when I started my own clinic and then went through my own evolution with that, from renting a building to buying a building to leading a team. And then I got to that, and that's when I had my own burnout story. And that's when I was forced to sit down and go, the way I'm doing this is not working for me anymore. This is actually not what I want for myself anymore. Although it had been my dream, the way I was doing it was making me so stressed. My hair actually fell out. I was very dysregulated. I was emotionally all over the place. I was out the house 13 hours a day. I was using Sundays to try and recover, put my house back together, and then start work on Monday again. So I was making the money, but I wasn't rich in time, energy, or magic. That's why it's so important to me, the prosperity piece, because wealth is just financial. It's just making money, compounding money, assets, stacking cash. Whereas prosperity is more holistic. It's, yes, making money, but how do you feel? What is your experience of making that money? Are you still rich in time and energy? Are you still experiencing the magic that this life has to give you? So that's why I'm specific about prosperity, because I want it to be more holistic, because I have made just the money and it didn't feel good. So
Yeah.
it's very important to me to feel the richness in all areas, because I've always made good money, but I've never felt rich. And that's the piece that's coming through now.
Yeah.
So that was my next evolution into, okay, how do I make what I've got work for me? And that's when I restructured everything. I restructured how I was working, what I was offering, who I was offering it to, what I was charging. So that was my next evolution. And I remember sitting at the dining room table going, why have I not done this before? I'm making more money than I was making. I had done an hour's yoga in that day instead of just 10 minutes while dinner was in the oven. I had coffee dates with my friends in the middle of the week. I had seen the clients who really valued my work, not just the ones who were coming in, checking a box, going out. And I remember sitting there in disbelief going, why have I not done this before? This is amazing. And I had done a lot of personal development work. And when I realized what I had done to get there, I realized this isn't it either. I need to take the next brave step and become a mentor and share this, because when I looked around, every other service-based woman I knew was doing exactly the same thing that I was doing. And if she went on the same journey I did, she would have the rich life as well. So then I had to be brave again and literally drop the entire business model, identity, what I was known for. I had to drop all of that because I had been a chiropractor, yoga teacher, Akashic reader, and then I had to pivot into being a mentor. So, yeah, there have been lots of evolutions, and at the time, it feels like you're being brave. But when you look back, it's really just the natural evolution of your journey, isn't it?
Before we jump back into the episode, I wanted to quickly share something that's helped me massively in my own business. And this is around the areas of just procrastination, perfectionism, and subtly sabotaging my own progress. Some time back, I noticed that I was overthinking content suddenly, especially like video content or even podcasting content. And normally when I go through that, I just think, okay, I need to get focused. I need a better plan. I need to make some decisions. And it wasn't coming to me. And I was in this mastermind at the time, and they had these amazing journaling prompts, and they are money focused, but this was just a surprising breakthrough because I discovered that the things that were holding me back, and I was subtly sabotaging things and not getting back to potential clients and not just doing the things that I normally do so easily, I realized actually through these journaling prompts that it was more to do with money, beliefs, self-worth, and charging and that kind of stuff, and that I had these repeating behaviors from things that I had picked up in childhood. And I know that's not a new thing when it comes to money stuff, but this thing around the first memory of money, it was such a breakthrough, and I've talked about it here on the podcast before. So I just wanted to share these prompts with you guys completely for free because they helped me go from like 2K months to my first 4K week in business, and it just sort of stopped me subtly sabotaging my own progress and doing those tasks. If this is something that you notice in your own business and you want to check it out, it's completely free, and the link will be in the show notes so you can grab it from there. Thanks so much, and I'll let you get back to the episode. So, do you mind if I ask, so you were doing the chiropractor thing, so I guess you're seeing clients maybe back to back. I think a lot of clinicians seem to do that in my experience. And what, like 9 to 5 or even longer, 8 to 6 or something? Yeah. And then 6 days a week. And then, so what was the next evolution? Like, what did you change before you got to the mentoring that you're doing now? What was that change? Yeah.
So I was a chiropractor for 20 years, had that business for 15 years, and in that time, I had my first episode of burnout 2 years into my career. I went into my boss's office and I absolutely cried my eyes out. I was beside myself. I was so tired. And he told me what everybody says, and he said, go and have a holiday. So I did. And I felt better, and I came back. And I burned out again. So in that time, I tried everything. I tried all the standard advice. I tried tweaking my hours, dropping some days, condensing my days, taking more mini breaks. Maybe I needed to streamline my processes. Maybe I needed to automate more. Maybe I needed to optimize my health. Maybe I just wasn't eating well enough. That's why I didn't have any energy. So in that time, I tried absolutely everything to try and stop burning out. And then when I made the jump that you're speaking to, I realized that my depth of experience and my level of mastery was not being satisfied by how I was working. I had a lot of skills by this point. I had a lot of experience. I had a lot to offer. And I was still trying to squeeze it into a 20-minute appointment, back to back to back, 6 days a week, like you described. And I just couldn't do that anymore. So I restructured and I offered longer sessions with much more depth. They were much more personalized, but they were obviously much more expensive. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it was just all beautiful, because when you make that kind of transition, there is a restructuring and there is a messy middle and there is transition, and not everybody came with me.
Yeah.
And that's again one of those pieces of the evolution. when I stopped teaching yoga, everyone went, "But you're so good at it. Why are you going?" Because there's more that I can offer
Mm.
than I can possibly do in an hour's yoga session in my local area.
Yeah.
So there is a lot that goes on in that transition. But the people who stayed were the ones who wanted the depth. They were the ones who I could use all of my skills with, all of the things that I had learned over those 15, 20 years. I could now bring them out. And these were the people that were picking up what I was putting down. So that's what made my days so fulfilling. You know, the people that I did see, I couldn't wait to see them because, oh, what are we going to do today? And how are they going to feel today? So yeah, it was such a fulfilling time. And I remember sitting, meditating one morning before work on the floor, and I opened my eyes and I remember going, everyone needs to know this.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah.
So how did you then go into your mentoring? Like what does your days look like, or the business model? What's that transition, I guess?
Yeah, so that one went from being, and again, we are entrepreneurs, so we don't really know what we're getting into. We just go, well, I'll figure it out. But looking back, I went from in person, one to one in my local area to one to many online globally. I mean, I made every shift known to man at the same time, but I kind of straddled the two for a bit. You know, I
That
straddled
makes
my
sense.
old job till I got my new job going. And then I did that thing where you hold on for dear life, going, just show me this new thing is going to work before I let the old thing go.
Been there so many
Just
times.
give
Yep.
me a sign that it's going to work and I'm going to be okay. And I hung on and I hung on. And on the day that I completely put down the old, I had no electricity, no heating, and no internet. The universe was literally saying, Jackie, get out of here. It's way, way past time. So yeah, that was funny. I did cling on longer than I should have. But it's a scary thing. You know, your energy is being pulled forward. You know that something is pulling you forward, something is bursting to come out of you. You have done enough of the personal development work, the spiritual journey to trust what you're feeling, but your little human's going, nope, I'm going to hold on.
Yeah. Sorry, I remember one of my periods of that. I had a part-time day job while I was building my business on the side. And yeah, I held on to both of those for quite some, like, I had the part-time day job for like 6 years while I was building my business up slowly and everything. And then everything was going fine. And when I let go of the business, then I lost like two clients in my first week.
Yeah,
And it was
yeah.
like the universe is like, "Are you sure, Tiffany?" Like,
Do you
no.
really want this, Tiffany?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I'm here now.
It's not for the faint-hearted, but the rewards, I don't even want to call them rewards, but the rewards on the other side are just so incredible. I mean, I'm guessing, not even close to the woman you were 5 years ago.
No.
And it's gone so fast, and you know so much, and you can offer so much. Imagine what will happen in the next 5 years, how fast the next 5 years gets to
Yeah.
be.
Look, for me, I think I'm not even the same person I was 6 months ago or 12 months ago. Like, it's just, it's, I've definitely, the layers are coming off, as you would
Yeah.
say.
And I
Yeah.
think those beginning ones are a little bit hard to let go of. But I was thinking about this with somebody yesterday. They think that I move really, really fast. And I was saying the reason that I can do that is because I've done it so many times that I understand. I can recognize the exact moment, the exact threshold, the exact crossroad where I'm being invited. Am I going to reinforce this old loop, or am I going to choose to rewrite something new? And in that moment, I'm actually not even using my brain anymore. And that's why I can go so fast because I'm just going, nope, collapse that, rewrite that, collapse that, rewrite that. And so I do it almost now before my brain has a chance to get involved and go, Jackie, I have some questions about this. Can we just slow down? Can we just think about this? So it gets to be faster. It gets to be less emotional. So I'm not saying that I don't get emotional. I actually feel emotions much more deeply, but they move through me much more quickly. So healing to me gets to be fun. I don't know if you saw it, I very rarely get triggered now. I used to have PTSD, so I used to be triggered multiple times every day. I used to recoil every time. I used to risk assess, micromanage, try and control everything, obsess over things, lie awake at night. And I don't do that anymore because of the work that I've done. But also, when I am triggered now, a little part of me goes, "Ooh, I just got triggered. What's this?" Because I know on the other side of it is another layer gone, another chance to meet more of myself, another expansion. And so I lean into them now. I actually get excited. Oh, I was just triggered. What's this about?
Wow, that's awesome that you can kind of separate from the emotions of the being in the trigger moment, and yeah, like it happens to me far less now too. But yeah, it's really interesting that you can just be like, oh, that separation, and oh, I've been
Yeah, but
triggered. This is
I
interesting.
really allow myself to go through the trigger. I
Love
allow
that.
myself to feel the emotion. I allow it to, because emotion is energy in motion. And a lot of what we're dealing with, a lot of the belief systems, the programming, the survival loops is because we, for whatever reason, couldn't allow that energy in motion to complete its experience before. Maybe we were too young, we didn't have the tools, we were in an inconvenient time or place. And so now I'm very conscious. I let it move through me, I feel it fully, and then I turn around immediately and I go, what was that?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense that you feel the trigger and then yeah, I've
Yeah.
definitely been there a few times. Although I think I'm still like in the middle of the feelings of the trigger, but while I'm like sort of sorting through it, I'm like, oh, this is an interesting layer. Or sometimes it's not this again. I thought I'd handled this thing comes up. So I'm still
Yeah.
back a little bit, I think.
I used to get frustrated as well, oh, not this again. I thought I dealt with this. But again, you can only deal with it to the depth that you have the skills, the knowledge, the time, the support, the fuel, whatever it is, you need the resources. So you can only meet that part of you when you are able, when you have the resources to move through it. So that allowed me to be a lot more patient with myself instead of, I must have done something wrong. I must have missed something. Why are we here again? I must have made a wrong choice somewhere. It allowed me to just let go of all of that and go, I must be ready to meet this part of me now. And so it allowed me to give myself a little bit more grace than I had been giving myself before.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, there was one question that I really wanted to ask you before we finish up today, and that was with the finding the new levels and the levels of bravery. And you mentioned earlier the teaching the goals and the vision boards, and I too, like I did that. I did it, I taught it. It also burnt me out. And now like bravery looks different in terms of how I teach it, but rather than just like the taking action and the big loud fun bravery, it's actually being brave enough to have a business that suits you and fits your goals and personality and that kind of stuff. But I'm just curious, like when you go to those next levels, like I find for me, like I do okay with those new identities and levels, but then I sabotage it. Like I get burnt out, or I can't hold it for as long. And so I've definitely noticed that, like I'm in a place where like I'm having to rebuild again after kind of losing everything from the identity I had, and I'm having to work out the new
Yeah,
identity and that kind of stuff.
yeah.
How do you hold on to it, or am I approaching it from a completely like,
No,
is there a
you're
piece of
doing
information
absolutely
I'm missing?
perfect. No, you're
Yeah.
doing absolutely perfect. There's two pieces to it, which is why I talk about the capacity piece and the
Mm.
sovereignty piece, because you do need to build the capacity to be able to hold more. And building capacity for me is just about being able to move more life force energy through my body. So I'm just going to speak to this quickly because I think it's important, particularly for women who are working with the burnout loop, is when I decided, I want to make a lot of money and I'm going to put it on my vision board and I'm going to put that extra zero on the end. What happens for women who are dealing with the burnout loop is your body is so used to giving, but it actually doesn't know how to receive. It doesn't know how to take on more life force energy and transmit it through your body. So when I went straight to those big numbers and I added on more, I actually slammed my system shut for a long time because my body went, whoa, that is way too much. What are you talking about? We are used to giving, and now you're saying that I have to receive that much energy. So, whether the life force energy is coming at you in terms of money or clients or opportunities or love or attention, eyeballs, visibility, whatever it is, when that amount starts to come towards you and your body's not used to it, my body slams shut. So I actually had to titrate slowly. I wasn't a girl who just opened the gate and went, yay, here we are. I had to do it more slowly. I had to do it a little bit, and my body went, oh, okay, that didn't overwhelm me. Great. Now we can do a little bit more. Oh, okay, we're actually okay. And I had to do it slowly. So this whole narrative out there is just like, you just open the doors and it all comes. That may be true for some people, but that wasn't actually my story.
Mm.
So if you're working with the capacity piece, know that it is okay to do it slowly, like you're not failing and you're not doing it wrong if you don't just open the door and all this wonderful stuff comes in. You actually have to show your body that it's okay to hold that. It's not going to overwhelm you. So that's the capacity piece. And then the identity sovereignty piece, you described it so perfectly, and I've done this myself, where you circle the new identity and you feel her and you're like, oh my God, this is her. She feels amazing. She's in her lane. She knows what she's talking about. She knows why she's here. She's feeling amazing. And this is what people say, stepping into your power. I'm not a lover of that phrase, but that's what it
Yeah.
is. But then you lose her. You
Yeah.
lose her. And then you start circling again. But what's happening is your body is learning how to stabilize their identity. So I did it as well. I'm like, oh my God, I'm there. This is where I was trying to get to all that time. And then I lost her and I circled for another couple of months before I stabilized her. And then on the last time, I remember saying to my friend, I was voice noting her, going, right, I'm there again. Because when you're there, you can feel it.
Yeah.
I'm there again. Day one, and I counted day one and I went, day two, I'm still there. Day three, I'm still there. Day four, oh my God, I'm still there. And I got to day 10 before I went, this is who I am now. So you'll stabilize her at some point, and
Yeah.
then that'll just be who you are. And then that'll just be your new frequency. And
Mm.
then that'll just be the new place that you operate from.
Yeah.
And then at some point we'll go again because there's always more. But that was my experience as well. I would settle into her and then I'd leave her, and then I'd settle in and I'd leave her. But all the while, your body is learning how to stabilize that level of your own power. That's what it's actually trying to do. It's trying to stabilize the magnitude of your own power. And then eventually one day you'll just stay there. And on that day, message me and go, I did it.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing that. Just because, yeah, that's how my experience has been of like I can hold it for a certain time and everything's going okay, and then all of a sudden my frequency drops and yeah, and then it's like everything slips through my fingers and it but it does get easier to get back into being her. But yeah, I'm
And
glad
then
that
eventually you won't have to do anything. You won't have to
mm,
hold any energy. You won't have to do any practices to get in the vibe or get in the frequency. You'll just wake up as her. And that's how you'll know. When you wake up and you're like, oh, I don't have to do anything. I'm just her. You'll know that you've stabilized that frequency for good. Um, and then enjoy it for a little bit because I'm sure the next thing will come along that goes, right, we're going again.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh, thank you so much for just sharing your experience. It's so nice to know I'm not alone in that. And I know, I think there'll be other people, if they've listened to me this long, they would have heard it in my solo episodes of me repeating some of these patterns. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you
Yeah,
so
and I
much.
think it's just so valuable for two women who are on the path, walking the way, to share their experiences because I know that I have listened to podcasts along my own journey and I've picked out little bits from those podcasts going, oh, this is normal. I can see where I am in the journey. This is normal.
Mm,
And so I think the more conversations we can have, the more honest we can be in those conversations, not just, the highlight reel that we put on Instagram, but like you say, the brave moments, the moments of letting go, the moments of, I have no idea if this is going to work, but it feels like it's the right thing to do. If
yeah.
we can be honest, then the people coming after us or the ones who are walking next to us can also, you know, galvanize their own experience from listening to these things. So thank you for providing this kind of platform for these kind of conversations.
Thank you so much. It's definitely been, yeah, a passion born of my own necessity of like, I want to hear these stories from other people. And yeah, so that's
Yeah,
how it came about.
we're in it
Uh,
together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for just sharing all of your amazing stories. Before we finish up, of course, we will have links to all of your stuff in the show notes. But if you want to first share where people can connect with you, for people who like me who are like, screw the show notes, I'm just going to type it in now and go to Instagram or wherever,
Yeah.
tell us where people can find you. And then after that, I'll ask you for some final words and see
Yeah,
to
thank
finish
you
up.
so much. You can find me on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. I, yeah, I have also just recently started using Threads, which is,
Mm,
yeah, I'm really liking Threads. It's a lot more kind of conversational. So if you want to jump in there and have a conversation with me, you're welcome to do that. There's obviously my website, which is my name, jackiecowie.co.uk. So yeah, jump on, ask me questions, tell me where you are in the journey, let me see how I can help you, whether we end up working together or not. Just we're here in service, so let me help you.
Thank you so much. And is there any last things you want to finish up with? If it's like, oh, if you don't remember anything else from what I've said today, or just any, I don't know, just putting you completely on the spot of
No,
like,
no, that's fine. If I sitting where I am now, looking back at my journey, trust that thing that's pulling you forward. Trust the thing that you can't see, you can't taste, you can't smell, but it's a definite pulling you forward. It's always pulling you forward into more. You don't need to know all the steps. You will not be given the path. Don't wait to be shown the path. You will not be given the path, but just trust that thing that is pulling you forward and trust that no matter what the external looks like, it's always pulling you towards your highest good and healing.
I love that. And as you say that, I'm definitely thinking about the things that it's pulling me forward towards. And I'm very excited, actually. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your stories with us. It has been amazing. Thanks, Jackie. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Business Bravery podcast. If you enjoyed this conversation, I'd really appreciate it if you shared the podcast with a friend or left a quick review on your favorite podcast app. It generally helps more coaches and service providers discover the show. And if you'd like to stay connected outside the podcast, you'll find links in the show notes to connect with me on Instagram and the link to the 5 money journaling prompts. Until next time, keep building your business in a way that actually fits you, one brave step at a time.